So the keys came back and I now have the action assembled. I brought it to the piano. This is just roughed in, but I have fine spaced the hammers to the strings. I'm just going to check through the bedding. I've got my key steps back on. I'm going to just check out my strike samples, which I have quickly tweaked to the new hammers. And so I'm going to validate all this, and then we're going to go out to the custom key bed where I will adjust first the bedding and strike. So in case anything happened in the transition that the keys have been through with their bushing and so forth. So I have to go through the action between the keys onto the back rail cloth. And if I get a tapping, it will be from keyframe to keybed rather than something else. All good? Initially, I checked more places, but that's just to confirm that. The process of fitting the front rail, it took quite a lot to accomplish, and in the end, instead of there being a very fine gap at either end, there's no gap. So I have a full fitting front rail. So with the key step pressed to the front, no tap, pull back in the little play that the slot has, there's the tap. I'll do that to each. There we go. Strike samples. I do have my weight on string number 3, 200 gram weight, to offset a potential deflection, because the hammer with the weight at the front of the key is going to bear against the string on its way to letting off. And really it only affects that most flexible string in the bass. Maybe with a concert grand you might consider the next couple, but on a B it's just string number 3. So no. There's a little hesitation on each. Which we will recreate on the bench. Okay. There is, of course, one more step that in my haste to get on with the work, I left out, and that is just to check the shape of the front rail. And of course there are new keys in place, and so check my end keys, and they are solid on their key steps. And then E44, I'm going to check, I'm going to tap from underneath first, and I get a little tap, and I get it from above, so I'm going to lift the key with the key step up to, it still feels a little bit, just a little bit. There we go. So now we have the overall shape of the keyframe when we get out to the bench. Okay, so I'm going to just review the preliminary leveling that I do to the bedding platforms prior to fitting the keyframe. This is based on the idea that the keyframe in the piano is flat. If you know that's not so, then you might have a different calculation, but it's not a bad place to start from in any case. A test of whether this is in the right place is whether this taps, and it doesn't. And maybe I can go up a little bit with this. I'm getting a tap here. So this is why I end up testing by elevator there. Because clearly this is too high if this is tapping. So I'm going back, illuminate that, get as close as I can. Okay, that seems good. No tap at the elevator. Do the same thing with the other side. Tap, no tap. See if I can get that a little bit higher. I can hear it go here. No tap, no tap. That one's got a very little tap in the middle. A little bit higher. Okay, I'm in business. Ooh, there's a little tap there. Okay, so that would mean that I have to go up here a little bit. I want this one also to have no tap. That's the balance rail. Okay, in this case, okay. Ooh. Okay. Now I can go across the balance rail, since if the overall key bed is flat, which it's trying to be, this would be flat too. that's just an extra. You can hear how the elevator, which is not touching, makes a sound. And it's a full fitting front rail now, so we'll just set it to flat as well. Okay, we're ready to bring the action in and fine-tune the bedding to the key step samplings. By the way, Mark Adams, a technician in California who has a set of my tools, turned me on to the Veritas straight edge, 50-inch straight edge. It's made in Canada. It has a nice heft to it, nicely made, very flat, and it's 50 inches long rather than 48. The WNG straight edge being 48 inches for leveling keys is excellent, but this 50 inches means that you can, on a Steinway B, as this is, being 51 inches, it fits within the range of the action, but spans far enough to sit on both the slipper track flanges, whereas the 48-inch one doesn't quite, which means you got to go back and forth. You can do it, but it's just more work. And please like, subscribe, or follow the link in the notes to my website.